My name is Becky, and I'm a biomedical scientist. A biomedical scientist very specifically will perform studies to understand better what underlies human diseases. And the long-term goal of that is to try to develop new therapies for human diseases. In high school, I really enjoyed science a lot. And when I went to college, I decided to pursue the sciences, and I went to medical school, and I also received a PhD in biochemistry. Someone who likes this job is someone who has a very deep sense of curiosity, someone who is probably frustrated with our current level of treatment for human diseases, and someone who really loves to use their hands and work in a laboratory. Early in your career, you will spend a lot of time in the laboratory designing and conducting the experiments with your own hands. However, as you progress in your career, you tend to be more the person who is reading and thinking about the problems and directing the work of personnel in your laboratory. So this is a agarose gel that we use to run DNA on. I spend a fair amount of time working in my office, studying, reading other people's work, developing the projects in my lab. I spend a fair amount of time working with the personnel in my laboratory, who are the folks who are actually doing the experiments with their hands. And I spend a fair amount of time writing and developing grants that I submit to provide financial support for the work going on in my laboratory. There's probably two challenges that are the most frustrating. One is when the experiments don't work. And that happens because it's just a tricky business to get things set up just right to get things to work. Good job. So that's just perfect the way you're doing that. Covering up the cells completely without really disrupting them at all. The second part is securing the financial support for it, because that's always really a challenge, and sometimes it's just really hard to get those grants, and sometimes it's frustrating. We can't do everything we'd like to do just because it's hard to get that financial support. To be a biomedical scientist that directs a laboratory, you need either a medical degree or an MD or a PhD degree in some kind of scientific area, such as biochemistry or molecular biology. You need to work very hard in school to become proficient in the basic sciences. I think as you go along further in your education and in your career, probably the most important thing is to identify what I call a mentor. So someone who shares a passion with you, but is senior to you and can actually help you develop into the scientist that you want to develop into. As a biomedical scientist, there are job opportunities in academic settings, such as a school of medicine. There are also a lot of job opportunities in pharmaceutical companies where biomedical scientists are also in high demand. Great. The coolest thing about my job is I get paid to do what I love to do. I have a Hoosier Hot 50 job, and I love it.